Hurricanes, earthquakes, forest fires, hurricanes again. Long ago, the 4 natural disasters lived in different fucking states. Then everything changed when it all happened in California for some reason.
Pretty much, yeah. You guys, like you hogged so many things in the past, and now we're like, okay, we'll hog this too. Take all the weather, all of it. All you guys need is a little snow. I feel like if you got a little snow, maybe some hail during a rainstorm, that would work.
Yeah, I mean, it snows in NorCal. Anyway, welcome to Generation Dan, the podcast about generational differences. We're recording this in the middle of a hurricane in California. I'm Atlas Novak. I'm your millennial. Who else is with me?
I'm Dino the Genetic Marvel. I'm the old judgmental bastard who's here, and I look forward to making fun of the fact that it's not a hurricane. It's just some strong wind. Maybe somebody farted. I don't think it's that big of a deal over there, but you guys keep on making it all about you.
Our guest today, she is the proprietor, owner, and a fantastic comedian in and of herself. It's Raven Fraser, everybody. How are you?
Good, thank you. And it's a tropical storm. And are you drinking? Oh, I thought you were drinking a cup of milk. I was like, holy shit.
It's water. It's water. Yeah. No.
What's wrong with him?
Yeah. I like to have skim milk.
His bones are brittle.
No.
Yeah. He's falling apart at the seams. Yeah.
Now, like I'm house sitting for my mom, and she doesn't really keep any food around for the most part.
It's like milk and bread.
Yeah, literally milk, bread, and a thing of like Fiji water in the door.
What are you supposed to do during a tropical storm like this?
Well, she lives next to the Trader Joe's, so I just like took a walk down there yesterday when I showed up, and
you can like row your boat down there.
Yeah, pretty much. Rented a jet ski. It's going great.
I have a question. It's not real milk though, right? Like it's milk from some sort of nut or yeah. There you go. No. Okay, let's. Yeah. Let's not mix words. Okay, come on.
There's so many milks now. Mm-hmm. Milk is fucking.
They're not milk though. Come on.
Yeah, but see, cow milk's gross anyways because we're the only species that drinks milk from another animal that's not its mother. It's fucking weird. Delicious. We should not be drinking cow milk.
You know what's even crazier is that it's not just cow milk. We drink goat milk too. Like it's fucking.
But it's
all
also
over the place.
not just milk. There's mucus that comes out of the teat as well. It's actually super fucking disgusting.
I learned recently that a lot of the times that you know how you can buy pre-made chocolate milk, like it's already chocolatey.
Right.
Reason for that is most often a batch had blood in it, which does happen with milk. So they'll just make a chocolate milk because that makes it easier. And I'm like,
you bastard! I can never drink chocolate milk again.
Yeah, I stopped buying it too, and I'm like, I don't really drink milk in general, but yeah.
Back to Nesquik for this man.
That's fucking disgusting. I wonder what's in the strawberry Nesquik then.
Oh, they milk the strawberries for that milk.
Just like straight semen in that.
Have you tasted strawberry milk? It probably is. Let's be honest.
No, but I've tasted a lot of semen.
Well, should compare notes. I don't know.
What the fuck?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, okay. All right.
Joey's in the comments. Hey, Joey, looks like a hurricane took out the internet. I hope everyone is dry. Well, listen, after that comment, not anymore. But
fair warning. If this stream cuts out randomly, that's why. Because some power line went down somewhere.
It's gonna be the Genetic Marvel's time to shine because my internet is fine.
That's right. So if me or Raven disappears, then you'll know why.
Yeah. It's not going to happen, though. The news is like, this is a life or death situation. No. And I'm like,
I think it's like, right? Like, it's like when it snows in Texas and they're like, up to an inch of snow is headed in your direction. You're advised to hoard. Like, just, it's just to be like, because most people don't listen anyway, like, in case it does, right?
Yeah. No, like in Athens, the same thing. There was snow, and they're like, "Oh, there's a little bit of snow. Yeah, everything's shut down. Everyone take the day off." Why? Because Greeks look for an opportunity to have a day off. That's really part of the culture.
Oh, I want.
It's crazy. I moved here from Australia a couple years ago.
Wow.
And when people call this a storm, I'm just like, no, this is not a storm.
No, not at all.
If you don't have snakes coming up through your toilet, it's not a storm.
Right? Like we were, my wife and I went to Hong Kong years ago, and we went up to the Victoria Peak, which is the high peak and everything. There's a whole bunch of stuff and touristy stuff, and
Roll
there was
credits?
it was like a monsoon season, and they're like, there's gonna be a strong wind. I'm like, guy,
no. I more mean that you and your wife Victoria went up to Victoria Peak. That must have just been real fun.
Oh yeah, she rubs that stuff in my face all the time. We went to England, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm named after the Queen." I'm like, you know what? She was born in the UK. It's fine. She just rubs it in my face. But yeah, in Victoria Peak, you're like, I could lean at a 45-degree angle without problem. And they're like, it's just a bit windy. I'm like, thank you. See, come on, let's be reasonable, people. It's not a hurricane, just a little bit of wind. But hey, so what are we talking about today?
I went and saw the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie because Katie and her wanted to take her nephews to go see it, and she's like, "You're doing this." I'm like, "Oh, fun." So I assumed it was going to be like some garbage kids movie, number 27 or whatever the thing is. It's really good. It's a good movie.
Are you gonna go see the Barbie movie next?
Already seen it.
Got it. Okay.
And Katie dragged me to see that too, but like I knew it was kind of part of the meme with the Oppenheimer stuff. So
we both know. Don't lie.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, "When are we gonna go see it?" Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was more excited to see Oppenheimer, and then of course it's just like, oh, I don't feel like spending 3 hours on it.
Oppenheimer it's a long movie, and it's kind of heart-wrenching because the guy just gets torn apart by people, right? And you're like, his whole life is put on display, and you're like, oh, this is very sad and horrible. But
ruin it. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not gonna see Barbie or Ninja Turtles, but don't ruin Oppenheimer for me.
Why aren't you gonna see Barbie? May I know?
Oh, because I'm a grown-ass adult.
That's fair. That's a reason. No, that's fine. That's a totally reasonable.
If I strike you as like a Barbie person, but
I mean, like,
I don't know anymore. I'm old. Everything could be. Half the men I know are Barbie men.
I really don't like movie theaters, so
okay.
Yeah, I was really upset that Oppenheimer, you couldn't stream it from home. That was a great thing during COVID. You could just like watch movies from home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm not going to see it until it comes out because I just won't go to a movie theater.
What's the problem you have with movie theaters, like as a concept?
Several. There's several things wrong with it. One, I don't like sharing my space with strangers.
Oh yeah.
I also hate listening to people eat, which is inevitable in a movie theater.
Also fair.
It is very cold, and the cold will constrict your bladder, which is why you always have to pee at the best parts. But the most important reason why I hate movie theaters is they are not fucking safe. If you were in a movie theater and someone decided to come in with a gun, you are fucked. We learned that with Aurora. I work in homicide outside of the club, you know.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, okay. That makes a lot more sense. I was like, that's
everything I do. I'm rationalizing like the safety, what could go wrong, where's my way out. And movie theaters are just like elevators. You're trapped. There's nothing you can do.
That's true. Listen, in all honesty, that was the best part about COVID was everyone learned to live at home, and you're like, oh, I never have to leave. I can just have everything delivered. They can leave it outside, and then once they're gone, I'll just take it like I'm in a cave. It's fine. Yeah. It's at the same time, everyone, the people who are like, I hate my house. You're like, that's your own problem, bro. That is your family, your children. You did all of that to yourself. So suck it.
I hate your house too, and I'm glad I don't have to go there now.
Whoa, come on.
I mean, it could have been like for people living, I feel the worst for the people who were in school during COVID, because not only are you stuck at home with your family, I mean, like
during COVID, it was horrible.
I mean, like high school, like
okay,
and then you miss like prom or whatever, and then they're like, we're not gonna do that. Time's passed. Bye. Have fun at college.
True. I mean, I feel a lot of kids miss out on prom. I feel more bad for the kids that were in their like developmental stages, like between like the age 3 and 6. that whole generation of kids is going to be the next generation of serial killers.
Yeah.
They lost like very important time to like integrate themselves and like learn how to share and like be friendly and all this stuff. And they're just, like the dogs, you know, everybody that got dogs during COVID wasn't able to socialize their dog. And now they're having all these behavioral issues, which is, you know, but you can, dogs are different. We love dogs. We can train dogs.
I saw a video of like somebody who had their kid during COVID, and then like the kid is starting to learn how to walk, and because they like gave hand sanitizer to the kid every so often, the kid's walking around outside and putting their hand under plants, expecting them to.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that they have all these like immuno.
No. It's just like they're so used to like when you put your hand under something, you get hand sanitizer.
See, that's just stupid though.
Yeah, I mean, kids like a year and a half or whatever, but it's just one of those things where you're like, that's kind of a bummer to see that be happening.
You know what? I feel weird when I go into a place of business and they have a display and you're like, oh, okay, might as well. It's been a while. And they're like, it's not even full, you assholes. Just take it down. Either commit to it or don't. Pick a lane.
Like the signs that are still up, like, please wear a mask indoors. I'm like, that's just going to stay up forever.
I love the floor stickers and you're like, hey, losers, this is still here, eh? It's great.
Yeah.
It's just,
my favorite is the one that's like when you're in an elevator and it's like, please stand 6 feet apart. And like, this isn't even 6 feet. Like, why was this even in here to begin with?
Put them up everywhere. We don't know what's going on. Anything, anywhere, all at once.
That's I think that was the most telling thing, right? Like everybody kind of retreated, and then like even now there's a huge push for people who are like, oh, we got to go back to the office. You're like, no, you're the problem. You're the reason we don't want to go to the office. That person who's pushing that, I hate that person. I think everyone hates that person.
I'm pretty sure it's just being put into like the op-eds are being put into papers by the people who have stakes in office real estate.
Absolutely.
It has to have been.
Yeah.
Math is important. Okay.
That's true. Hey.
It's random.
Joey's also crazy, and that's fine. That's I had him on my show last night. It was great. It was fun times. No, but that's the weird part, right? Like there was such a huge transition. Like for me, we binge. Like peak pandemic, I binge watched Supernatural. That's 15 seasons.
Oh my
God, 20 episodes a season. Each one 45 minutes. I blew through it in like 18 to 20 days. I'm like, I was just day and night just watching the whole thing. My wife's like, you have a problem. I'm like, such a problem.
Was it good?
It's a great show. It's very long and tedious, but Supernatural and
I know, but there are shows like that where it's like after season 6 or whatever, it's not worth it anymore. Or like,
I don't even know what that is. And my pandemic experience was so different.
What was yours like?
Yeah.
Well, because I said, you didn't say it, but I kind of alluded to it. I'm a coroner.
Yeah.
So my experience during the pandemic was like I was just insanely overworked, and we were in overtime, and then peak pandemic March, March 2020, they were allowing anybody with like an expired nursing license to not reactivate it, but you could go volunteer in New York and work on it. So I volunteered out there, and then I also did some work up there with the morgues that were beginning to overflow.
Yeah.
And we at one point had the National Guard in helping us because we were so like literally up to our neck in bodies. And then that had a snowball ripple effect that we literally only just started getting past like maybe 7 months ago.
Jesus,
we were like worked to the bone. It was,
I don't know, like that. Oh God, like that's the hard part with that kind of situation, right? Where you're like, it's just gonna keep coming in. There's nothing you can do. Just keep on pumping through, right? But
it's hard because you have people that are dying at like this exponential rate, right? And then you have people that are just regularly dying. But what we did see is a huge decrease in homicide. And that was really interesting because people weren't going out and like killing each other. But we did see after like a little bit after lockdown, you started seeing like this spike in domestic violence cases and child abuse as well. And we think that it's because of like people that were like locked up at home with their kids for so long.
Yeah.
And, you know, finally people seeing like, oh, this kid's being abused because they finally then began to go to school and like people were noticing or but yeah, like my pandemic experience was just like so different. I wish I could have been chilling. And what fucking sucks is I was like working my ass to the bone every single day, hoping I didn't get sick. And then my friends who are like hairdressers and, you know, waitresses are just like at home and they've got like their Venmo tips and they've got like the I mean, it sucked for them for a while, but they were getting, you know, like supplemental income. Yeah. And I was like, man, fuck. Ask me what I got as my COVID bonus.
People banging pots on the streets. Is that
So I work for the government and we didn't get our COVID bonus for working the entire pandemic until 2022, end of 2022. And we got a 6-inch Subway meal and we didn't get to pick what it was.
Oh my God.
Like a 6-inch sandwich. You had to choose from. I got Sun Chips and like a medium Diet Coke.
God.
It's not even a foot long.
Not even a foot long.
Let him have a foot long. What's wrong with that? That's so messed up.
And we only got that because one of our chemists upstairs was like, I'm just going to buy everybody a fucking Subway sandwich because.
See, it's stuff like that where you're just going, what the hell happened?
Why am I doing this?
Well, but that's really a lot of people went through where they're going like, wait, why am I suffering like this? You're like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. Just, and like certain people, I think a lot of people were very much entitled to say fuck it and didn't. And you're like, you're being a hero for nobody. And then the reward was like, hey, got you a 6-inch sandwich. You're like, oh, what kind? You're like, just a generic one. That's fine. Not a premium. Just
there were
normal.
like 2 that you could choose from: the Black Forest ham one, and then like some other one. And I was like, man, these are both fucking gross. It's like prison food.
But what can I say except you're welcome for the turkey?
And we learned nothing from Jared.
Oh God! But that's the worst part is people were like, oh well, you know, as a reward, you're saying going, all right, what, like 30 grand, 40 grand? They're like, Subway sandwich. You're like, we had different expectations, I think.
See, at the end of the day, though, I don't think that we should have gotten a reward rewards are nice,
sure,
but by no means do I feel it necessary to perform the job that I signed up to do. Yeah. And every now and then, like when people do a job, like you're going to have days and months and weeks that are harder.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. And it's still your job. You don't get rewarded for doing extra work when you know that that's part of the territory. It just so happens that this kind of like crazy thing happened. But I think it was like in comparison, everybody kind of started comparing themselves to each other. Like, I'm like, why does my friend get a reward and I don't? And I'm doing this. And then like waitresses are like, well, we're not getting enough money because of this and this and this. And this person, you know, it's just.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree with you.
I think everybody started acting really fucking entitled, like they deserved something.
I mean,
for doing their part.
For most people, it's just like doing your job isn't enough to just live, like on a single income. And
in general, though,
it's literally impossible to afford an apartment in any city in the country on minimum wage, which is what it was supposed to be when it started, because it's not. Like they didn't keep up with it. It hasn't increased since like 2003 or something like that. Like it
was already behind back then. It's fine.
It was already behind back then. Yeah.
It's been behind since like the 70s. It's not.
And then for the people being like $15 minimum wage, I'm like, that's behind now too. It should be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you to do that math, it needs to be around $40 an hour for it to actually be, because it's one income, should afford a family residence, not necessarily to purchase a home, but to be able to survive. And like I always rationalize it as like you can have like one vacation, not a good vacation, like it might be just camping, but it is a vacation technically, you know, something like that. An outing,
or hell, depends on who you ask.
Oh, listen, I pay to stay inside. Why am I paying more to go outside? That doesn't make any sense. But
no, but I agree, especially with like inflation and everything that's happening. It's just you're never gonna get on that same level where somebody can just survive on one income and keep up with how much prices are increasing. Like when I lived in Australia, I would tell all my friends back in America, like, oh, my minimum wage is like, I think the minimum wage was like $27. And Americans would be like, oh, that's crazy. That's so good. But in retrospect, it's the exact same situation as here, because when you're on like 100 grand a year in Australia, you're still like just barely making enough
Yeah.
to afford like to live, so.
And you have to fight monsters on a daily basis. So like
You have to
Australia,
fight monsters.
Yeah. Which is like realistically, it's like kudos, but also why would you do that?
Also, like, what the fuck?
I would totally read like a children's novel, Raven Fraser and the Funnel Web Spider, or like just insert crazy Australian monster here.
Good. I can't believe you knew the Funnel Web. I'm impressed.
When I was a kid, I had this book of like all the like most dangerous animals and like how they kill you and
all
stuff.
In Australia.
And what?
And they're all in Australia.
They're all in Australia. Yeah.
True.
We had a funnel web and I was so scared. So like, I don't know if you've heard of the huntsman spider.
Yeah.
But those ones are like our household daddy long legs. They're harmless, but they're like this big and they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
And the funnel webs are like that big, which is still pretty scary, but they're like lethal. Yeah. Interestingly enough, dogs are impervious to them.
Get lost. Well, that's nice.
You know what? And also squirrels are impervious to rattlesnake venom out here.
Oh, well, I guess that makes sense, right?
I think it's like an epigenetic change. Like they've just like evolved to be impervious to it because they are at risk of them all the time. Like they're prey.
Yeah, exactly. So like the ones that were impervious to them got to breed. And
they still got a chance.
They still got a chance.
Not us though.
No. Well, like realistically, if you get bit by a snake, you're like, well, that sucks to be you, right?
I get bit by a snake, I'm gonna bite it right back. I'm gonna punch it in the head.
I feel like that's only reasonable, right? Bitch. Yeah, I feel like that's the only conclusion. It's just like, oh, it bites me, I bite it back. That's a
tie it in a knot. Get out of that one, snake.
I just remember the Archer episode where he gets bitten by a snake on the taint, and then it's like a whole thing. It's like, can we suck the venom out of your taint? No.
So, apparently, that is actually more risky if you do it. But hey.
I had a friend out here before I moved to Australia. It was like 2013, and he died from a rattlesnake bite.
Jeez.
But because he was such a fucking dumbass. So this guy, he's like just a raging alcoholic. And you can
respect for the dead. Yay.
His name's Billy Glide. He was a porn star, and he was an alcoholic. And he had a rattlesnake in a fucking like terrarium with a loose top, and he was drunk and trying to like move the terrarium, and the lid fell off and it bit him. And instead of going into the hospital, he just was like, I'm gonna go to bed. And it took like 3 days. Like rattlesnake bites do not kill you quickly. Jesus. Like you have ample time to correct the situation. And he just went to bed and drank and like developed a fever. It was like, I don't feel very good. Anyways, yeah, he died.
Yeah, I feel like that's, the universe was like, I got this. It's just took care of it.
Darwinism.
Like at some point, it's like I had a friend who had like 6 snakes at home, and I'm like, if one of these eats you, it's on you, right? Like he's like, well, I got a couple pythons. I'm like, yeah, man, that's your problem. Like nobody's gonna be like, hey, can I watch those for you? I'm like, no, absolutely not. Just absolutely. He's like, you can come over and play poker. I'm like, no. That's definitely not.
That's worse. Like there's more snakes.
It's very confusing. Like I can like there's even actually a reptilia where it's like they have a few alligators, they have some snakes and cool stuff, and it's like a zoo type of thing, right? And it's like, oh, that's really wild. And people are like, oh yeah, wouldn't you want to touch anything? And I'm like, no. It's everything can murder me, and I'm a lot to move. Like I was a lot fatter back then, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want people to have to worry about moving me around. That just seems inconvenient. It's
hard. Thank you. On behalf of coroners everywhere, thank you.
Weirdly, so my brother passed away recently, and he was so to get him out of the house, he was fatter than I am, and I never got to rub it in his face that I had lost weight before he died. And I was like, damn it, so close. But he So they were moving him out, and I was like, "Yo, he is really fat." I feel bad for it was two guys and a woman, and the woman took the bottom half and was like one person. She was like, "No problem." I was like, "Jesus, she's like a power lifter or something." It was very impressive.
No, that's why. I mean, I had neurosurgery recently. I don't know if you see this little scar, but it was actually like, pretty big. It was a pretty big surgery, but it's largely because of my job. Like even me being like 5'1", if you have a body, it doesn't matter how big it is. It's just like, do it. You have to do it. You have to figure it out. I've done an autopsy before where someone was 666 pounds.
Jesus Christ. Oh, that's a lot. Listen, okay, so full disclosure, I was
person.
So during the pandemic at my peak, I was over 450 because that's how big my scale goes. I probably was about 500.
Good for you. You must have lost so much.
Yeah. So right now I'm tracking about between 100 and 90. Today I weighed in at 260. It's very exciting. So
you lost a Lizzo.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations. You literally lost a Lizzo.
Yeah.
Or a Rosie O'Donnell.
At least a Rosie O'Donnell, somewhere in that mix, right?
He's coming for my ass too, because I'm 230 and like.
Yeah, the best part about this has been the messages I get from other people I know that are overweight, and they're like, "Wait, you're in shape?" Oh, absolutely the fuck not. So they're like starting to hustle, and I'm like, "I'm glad I motivated you, but also like, fuck you." It's kind of, maybe that's my
awesome,
time.
Though. Yeah. Congratulations.
But that's one of the things I was like, I can't have somebody like I always knew that. I'm like, if something happens, I'm like, nobody's gonna move me. Like nobody walks around with a forklift. I'm like,
that is so considerate of you.
I have a very small wife. She's very
I just imagine you're on like hour 58 of intermittent fasting, and you're like, this is for you, coroners, drinks water. Like,
kind of like, honestly, it's one of those things where I'm just like, I feel bad for people, like, because I've gotten shit faced at a party before, and people are just like, can you just sit down? And I'm like, sure. And then they're like, we got to move you. I'm like, good luck with that. I'm like, I'm here until I'm sober, so good luck, have a great night. Just not gonna happen, right? So
very considerate.
Yeah, well, hey, I feel like I just need to get into heaven. I mean, just one good thing for people I don't know in general, that I'm not going to benefit from this, but others will. I'm going to be more portable in the future.
Imagine if it was found out that you get into heaven by losing weight, and then that's it. That's the only thing that gets you into heaven.
I squeak through the gates, and I'm like, I can just yeah.
The Olsen twins are like, see, this is why we do it.
There's
every dictator just immediately like starts like burning iron and pumping.
Yeah, what is it? North Korea's like, see, this is why we do this to you. Like, it's for your own benefit.
You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, one apple a day.
An apple a day keeps the Satan away. That might be the title. This is
not
hard.
a bad title. Not
Raven Fraser and the funnel web spider, or an apple a day. I'll think about it.
Top tier.
Kim Jong-un was really onto something.
He was a man for the people. That's
what's
he was the real prophet.
That's
why he knew.
Played one game of golf. Struck 18. It was good. You're like,
all the weird propaganda where it's like, I invented the hamburger or whatever the thing was, and
which honestly, I love that he didn't hesitate. He's like,
I've
mastered the piano while at the age of 4. I wrote a sonnet. No one can ever hear it. It's too good for the human ear. You're like, that's like way to just take it to the next level.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be crazy, be all crazy. Go all in. Don't sugarcoat it. Be like, yes, I'm a deity, and you have no idea who the powers you're messing with.
A deity, very, very fancy sounding. I had a question for you guys. What is like a property from when you were a kid that you hope never gets redone, rebooted, whatever the thing is?
A property, like a land thing?
No, like movie, TV show. book series, whatever the thing
Not a
is.
good one.
I've already gone on record saying that I thoroughly want to punch Michael Bay and Bryan Singer in the face for what they've done to Transformers and X-Men. That was my childhood, basically, and they've torn it apart. But that ship has sailed, so there's nothing really I can do at this point. My childhood's gone, but luckily I have the comfort of Appa here, and he can just make me, my six-legged flying bison.
I'm glad that they didn't wait 20 years before continuing with Avatar stuff. They've just, for the most part, just kept it going. This entire
They're trying.
Yeah.
It's look. It's the hard part is like, okay, I'm just realizing now that I'm surrounded by nostalgia. So like, this is in process. Is the Skeletor's Havoc staff? I have an Optimus Prime up there.
My dog's name is Skeletor.
Listen, he was right, okay, and Prince Adam was a dick. It's just that's fair. It's reasonable. Yeah, no. So I'm. There's so much.
There's a kitty. This is why I'm at my mom's house. I'm cat sitting. This is Sophie.
I would get up to grab my dog, but I'm actually not wearing pants. So
okay. At least you're honest.
I didn't think about that earlier when I was giving you shit. And I was like, oh, I'm actually like not wearing pants.
Whatever. It's fine.
I applaud it. Listen, now that I'm not livestock size, I'm like, I walk around without pants all the time. And I was looking good. And I'm like, yes, I am. This is fantastic. I get the whole, it makes sense.
Business up top. Oh, party down below.
It's about good times, right? It's only fair. But
I think so I have, I'm trying to think of things I don't want to be redone. Everything's already been redone. Like Where the Wild Things Are, that should have never been redone.
I never saw it. Was it horrible?
Like, it's awesome. It's not.
People are stupid though.
Should never be redone. Rocko's Modern Life should never be redone.
Correct. That is
All great. Real Monsters should never be redone.
Didn't they do that though? They did it for like Rugrats, and I thought they were doing it for
Rugrats.
Yeah.
Rugrats.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, because I know they did the weird like claymation looking animation for, I think it was Paramount Plus for Rugrats. I could very easily see them doing that.
Do you remember Wallace and Gromit?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Or you know what? I would be okay with them bringing back Celebrity Deathmatch.
Oh, definitely though.
Yeah.
That brings people joy though, right? Like realistically, watching that you're like, that's what I'm here for.
And
right?
if that got even better, that would be better too, because it was good back then. But you're always like, man, this could be a little bit more gory.
Absolutely. Listen, I feel like you got to mix it in with like full Mortal Kombat finish him moves and like really sell it. I feel like that's the technology we need, people. That's what AI should be working on.
I know.
Yeah. Just violence among celebrities. That's what AI should be structuring. It's not about, they shouldn't be painting. No. They should be doing that.
That would be kind of interesting. Okay, so celebrities, they are assessed before Celebrity Deathmatch takes place. They put in their skill set like a custom character in a video game, and then AI does a simulation of it.
Who would be the NPC? Who would be the non-playable character?
Who's like doing the
Celebrity Deathmatch? Like who would be like the last character that you'd pick for your Celebrity Deathmatch?
That's a good question. At first, I was thinking like Gordon Ramsay, and he's just all knives, just And so,
but that's like a good choice. You want somebody, you think somebody who wouldn't be good at this.
Like who's the most like useless celebrity?
I think Adele by now. Like if you did 2009 Adele, yeah, should be awesome. But like 2023 Adele has become so consumed by something about losing all that weight has made her not be a person of the people anymore. She would be terrible for Celebrity Deathmatch.
Listen, man, as a in-process retiring fatso, trust me, as you lose weight, you start to hate fat people. You guys are fucking assholes. Like,
and also, if you're Lizzo and you are fat, you hate people. I hate you.
Well, apparently she hates the fuck out of people. Like,
and she really likes bananas for whatever reason.
Well, or a good show.
Yeah,
one of the two. That's
whatever
fine.
the thing is.
She'll be entertained whether you like it or not. That's how that.
You know who the most used? Britney Spears.
For celebrity, she's been through a lot.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for that woman. She is like not a human being. Like
she went through a lot. I think
it's not that, but she's not a real person at this point. Like she's not real.
So if Britney Spears didn't have the money and the house, if you took her exactly as she is,
all right,
and set her on Skid Row, you wouldn't think twice. You'd be like, "Yep,
true.
That's looks right. Sounds about right." She's
absolutely. That's the weird part is you're like, how I feel like that's a book worth like, well, not reading, but watching somebody read that book where you're just like, what kind of happened where they're like, you know what, she doesn't need to be educated and like real world experiences. No. Just make her entertain people. You're like, that's
now I'm thinking of
the
like
Disney story.
Like a Prince and the Pauper type deal, right? Where she like switches places with someone on Skid Row, and then hijinks ensue.
That would be so funny.
Can you imagine the Skid Row person
that as a show? That would be fucking hilarious.
Like the doppelgangers of Skid Row. I feel like that's a real
That's a good
one. Like if you found your crackhead twin.
And then you got to switch lives. And I think it would be good for teaching celebrities how to share. That would be
like that
nice.
show Wife Swap.
Like a real life lesson kind of thing.
Life swap.
I feel like that should be how Chappelle's show should come back. They do a life swap, the doppelgangers of Skid Row, and they just do that to teach celebrities how good they actually have it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just
throw billionaires in there too, because like billionaires didn't read Rainbow Fish as a kid, and now they just
Speaking of billionaires and Celebrity Deathmatch, how bummed are we all that Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are not fighting?
I'm disappointed.
How weird was that to begin with, and that they had proposed the Coliseum.
I know.
This is the age
only then, though.
They gave us fisticuffs blue balls for like 3 weeks, and then there's another episode title.
And Mark Zuckerberg's like, because he didn't take it seriously. Yeah. Nobody did.
Look, people aren't excited to watch because they're like, I love Elon or I love We wanted to watch them fight because we hate both of them and we want them to beat the shit out of each other.
Yes.
Right? Let them fight.
Speaking of doppelgangers, I've been trying to add content to TikTok because while it feels creepy, it seems like it's an easy way to get following. So I recently did one about which Simpson character you are, and I'm like, I am a fancy Homer. I'm like, Jesus, that's.
Oh man, you totally are.
I am. I'm like the Homer that lives on the sea kind of thing. Like I definitely give those vibes off.
Homer on the sea.
Yeah, wait, Atlas, you're Homer? Giving Flanders vibes.
I've gotten that before. If you turn me up like 2 degrees, you get actual Flanders.
Do you like make really fancy milkshakes with s'mores on top?
No, although I remember that from the movie, and I'm like, I really want that.
So Raven, he also gives off Syndrome vibes, like hardcore. Just so you
still have that.
So I don't know what that is, but when you said Syndrome vibes, I was like, that's not nice.
No. Have you ever seen The Incredibles?
No.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Oh shit. Okay.
This is the villain, and it's actually Atlas. It's Atlas looks like that.
And that particular picture was back when I worked at an eye doctor's office. They were training the new techs to for dilation. So like, come here, we're doing this to you. So that put the picture back up. So like one pupil is like super blown out compared to the other.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah. So it was just the kind of thing where I'm like, okay, I'm wearing sunglasses for the rest of the day until the thing wears off.
It was hilarious though.
It is giving Syndrome.
Yeah, well,
I highly recommend that movie. By the way, it's a good movie.
He has pictures where he just has a mustache for Halloween, and I'm like, super Ned Flanders, like hard Ned Flanders. Maybe the Ned Flanders that runs people over, but still Ned Flanders.
I dressed up as a Teddy Roosevelt for Halloween in 2019.
Yeah.
Which actually, Ned Flanders is not a bad idea. Ooh.
Listen,
dude, yeah, you have to have a mod.
I mean. There's my fiance Katie.
There you go.
She could be mod. I don't know. She's not really much of a Simpsons fan, though. I wonder how into that she would be.
Marriage is about giving and taking. Sometimes
last year we were 2 halves of an Oreo. This year, I'm floating Cosmo and Wanda from the Fairly Odd Parents. But
so I want to tell you the idea that I came up for Dennis and I for Halloween, but I also don't want you to
ruin it.
I want you to steal it.
Not going to steal it,
How about you have like a few years you can't do it. You have to wait like 3 years before you use it. How about that?
Or I'll mute myself while you say it to Dino, and then
no, I'll tell you.
Okay, all right.
Do you watch It's Always Sunny?
Yeah.
I want to be Nightman.
And he'll be the Dayman?
Or the troll.
Or the troll.
Oh!
That's really good. With the makeup and the that I love that idea. You guys should totally do that.
Yeah. I want to be Nightman so bad.
Katie hates It's Always Sunny, so you're safe. We're never gonna do like a couple's costume on that. Whatever. It's just not her thing.
Katie needs to stop hating and start loving things. That's
she likes Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, Schitt's Creek is good. Yeah. I like that show.
Yeah. Here's a show that I don't want adapted ever again, and that's Rocket Power. Did you ever watch Rocket Power?
Oh yeah, I was not a big Rocket Power person, but I did watch it.
That was so of its time, so like late 90s, early 2000s, that like you can't do the like skateboarding kids and.
You know what I saw that they were bringing back? I saw a casting call for it. It was God, can't even remember it now. It was like it was the kids, and you'd be on a panel, and you'd have to go through the obstacle course.
Like Wipeout or
no,
there's Takashi's Castle is already back, but
I remember
it was like a castle thing.
I remember Floor is Lava coming back. I remember the castle thing.
Well, Takashi's Castle is the one that they're like the original kind of Wipeout type game, but it was
the one where they like slime you.
Okay. You can't do that on television?
Yeah. Oh, I love that show. I mean, that was a great show. But
I heard that. Yeah.
That show was traumatic. That's for sure.
It was a good show.
But they didn't have like it wasn't a competition necessarily, was that? Yeah. There was something else like that though. Yeah.
Look it up.
See, like that's the thing is why aren't like okay.
Double Dare.
Double Dare. Ooh. Oh, that is a good idea. I don't know how well that's gonna,
I feel like it's hard to bring back stuff like that though, right? Because you can have the same competition and everything, but you just don't get the same vibe. And also too, people aren't as brutal as they used to be, right?
That's true. Yeah.
And like when like
everything's way too PC to be fun.
Well, that's for sure. But also I feel like there's the exposure of it all where it's like if you were, let's say you got slimed on You Can't Do That on Television, right? Unless you watched it or it was a rerun, it's gone, right? Nobody's going to be like, oh, you were that guy, right? Whereas now it's like, you're this guy. It's on my phone. I have it as my background, right?
I actually have a friend. Hold on. I got to see what it is because I actually remember now. He's my friend and he was on one of those shows as a kid.
One of my coworkers, Raven, I got into teaching recently, so I'm an English teacher, and one of my coworkers was saying like, so let's get a jump on Halloween. I'm thinking all the teachers dress up as characters from Three's Company. Do you think the kids would get that? I'm the youngest teacher, and I was like, okay.
You're like,
they don't even know what Seinfeld is.
That's not even a good set of costumes. It's just like, we're gonna dress like we're in the 70s. That's it.
Yeah, it's like four people. There's way too many characters for that. Part of me wants to pitch like The Simpsons. Like there's so many people from The Simpsons that you could dress up as.
Well, unless you have a bunch of fat teachers, then they're gonna have like 9 comic book guys, which is fine. It's just
there's no
sideshow. Bob would be cool. Mo would be cool.
Yeah, but you know what? Whoever gets nailed as Mo is not going to be happy about it because like you could be Mo, and they're like, "Wait, am I the ugly person?" You're like, "Oh,
I don't think she wanted like to assign people specific costumes. I think it was just like this show.
Let's be honest.
It's a stupid idea, though.
What, Three's Company? Yes,
it's stupid. Okay, so it was called Guts, and he's my friend, and he goes. I conquered the aggro crag from Nickelodeon's Guts.
There were a lot of shows like that, though, that had that insane stuff, which Was it like the 90s and the early 2000s?
Yeah, 90s, yeah.
And that's
and like Stickly. I remember Stickly. I love Stickly on Nickelodeon. He was the popsicle stick.
Dude, you know what I have to be?
What?
I have to be the teacher from the Key and Peele sketch.
Hey,
Ron! Yeah.
I have that shirt somewhere. In like 5X, which is now like I have literally an entire closet full of funny shirts that I'm like, oh, I can't
man, I'll never get to wear these again unless I get really sad.
they don't fit anymore, but which is like, hey, it's weird. But listen, Aaron is hilarious. That you done messed up, Aaron.
Google if I even know what you guys are talking about. Aaron?
Well, so it's a sketch on Key and Peele where it's a substitute teacher and he's mispronouncing all the names where it's like D nice.
Okay. Yeah, it's the way it's the substitute teacher from Key and Peele. If there's about 2 or 3 sketches that they did, and the way names are mispronounced is culturally sensitive, let's say, and hilarious all at the same time. And it's very enjoyable.
Have you watched Tim Robinson? I think you should leave.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, I have no. Yeah. Is it? Okay,
we're all trying to find the guy who did this.
So good. They're trying to steal my decals. The crooner. Yeah, it's so good. You have to watch it.
So I keep on seeing it on because on Netflix, right? And I'm like, I'm tempted, but the thing is, I don't think my wife is she's Asian. She doesn't get some things, and I'm just like, that's fine, right? Yeah, but she's like really like right now we're watching.
So am I. I just don't look it.
Yeah, that's part of it. So but we're watching Everything Everywhere All at Once, and it's like half of the things the mom says, you're like, that's fucking mean. That's mean to say to your family, and she's like, it's just Asian, and I'm like, I know, but like, Jesus Christ.
Did I tell you what happened a couple weeks ago? So Raven, I sent out my wedding invitations, and one of the
weird, I didn't get one.
Well, sorry. But
I got one.
Okay, don't. God damn it. Okay, one of my friends from college, he's Asian, and his mom, like he lives in an apartment like under his parents, where it's like 2 separate units, or like
as a good son would.
Yeah. But they have the same mailbox, so the mom.
That's not how that works. But go on.
the mom got to his mail first, and then opened the invitation, and was just apparently making fun of Katie, like. Just like, okay, she can never see this. It's a good thing she doesn't listen to this show. Yeah, but it was like, dude, fuck you, lady. Like,
no,
fuck you.
Listen, it's one of those things. Like, okay, the highest praise you can get from an Asian person for a dessert is, oh, not so sweet, and you're like, it's dessert. It's supposed to be sweet. Why is that the compliment? It's very confusing. It's very confusing. And especially like I used to make a joke, like it's still true, but it's a lot less believable now. I'm like, there's no one in this household that I can't wear as a backpack. They're all like this big. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, it's.
I haven't heard you make that joke in a long time.
Well, I'm no longer classified as a land manatee, so it's weird. Like I'm still 6'2" and built like a linebacker, but it's it doesn't carry the same gravitas. People just assume that I'm in a house full of little people.
You're not the linebacker by default, because
I'm also not the Kool-Aid man by default, but I can still, anytime. Like it's I'm born with that characteristic. It's fine. It's one of those things that you just got to live through. But is there somebody in the house now, Atlas? What happened? You're just looking around these.
No, there's nobody here. I'm keeping.
It's an apparition.
I'm looking out the window at the rain to see how like crazy it is, because
it's not. Is it? I can't pull up my window because I'm not wearing pants. So.
It's fair point. It lets up and gets crazier, because also my mom's like gutters, like her rain gutters go into these urns.
Yeah,
and normally it's just for like to collect rainwater, but so much is going on every couple hours. I gotta walk out there and like dump them out, and then.
I thought you were gonna say that's how she collects the souls of the homeless, just with those urns, just goes around.
Oh well, the wind's picking up.
Oh.
Exciting. It's perfect time to make things sound like they're making sounds out the side of your house.
It's raining sideways.
Perfect.
I am
perfect
so excited for my lawn. I was like, fuck yes, this is
oh my god.
prayers were heard. I have literally I'm like a dad.
Yeah.
Hey,
over the course of this podcast, for people listening, she has slowly been growing a mustache over the course.
Not slowly. Yeah,
like gonna bust out a comb. Just like, that's fair.
No, I actually do, and I do shave it.
Oh, that's I was at a roast show. I was at a roast show, and I said,
I don't know if I need to shave.
That's fine. Listen,
you're fine. It does. I can't.
I was at a roast show, and I said about that person, some person being there, and I was like, I've never been jealous of someone's facial hair. This is a first. And like after the show, she was like, it's like a real. I'm like, hey, it was just a joke. I don't think you have any facial. She was like, no, it's fine. It's not a big deal. And I'm like, it's definitely a big deal, and I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Sorry.
Yeah, like the fact that it's at a roast show, you're expected to have things thrown at you.
Oh,
and then you're like, actually,
people.
like.
I decimated a few people. Like one girl who I think has stopped doing comedy, like dressed like a librarian, and I was like, I didn't know sadness could be a fashion choice, and like no one laughed, and I'm like, ooh, was that a little too on the nose? And it was like I'm the youngest of 5 kids. I had 3 brothers. Like we brutalized each other both physically and mentally, which that's a good childhood, but. I'm like, I could just turn that on and be mean to people, which I'm like, sorry, be tougher. I don't know what to do.
Jokes are like funny when they're true, and then when they're too true, people are like,
it's and then you're just like, oh, I went too far.
Rage too.
Well, that's the advantage of being a land manatee. Nobody's gonna be like, I'm gonna beat you up. I'm like, no, I'll eat you. It's not. You can't do anything to me. And now I can run away. It's very weird. It's a very weird time in my life.
Now I can get away.
Yeah, well, I can fit through small cracks. Yeah, well, not turning purple. I'm just, yeah.
When you've been bitten by a funnel web spider, luckily Raven Fraser can handle them.
Yeah, and Alice will suck the venom out of your taint.
Maybe
I'm gonna pee my pants.
That's better than the alternative, sir.
I have shit in my pants right now. Oh my god! Every time.
Is that real?
Kind of. During that clip, I was telling the story of like how I shat my pants, and then of course Joey, the person who was commenting on the stream this whole time, like clipped it and immediately sent it to Dino. And now
it just kept on getting better.
Yeah. So.
I keep them in my back pocket, amongst other things.
His shit pants. You just keep them.
Well, I feel like you can really convey a lot, as well as the name Assless No Cock. You're like, it's a winner. You're like, I can't. He told me, I didn't even ask him. Like, hey man, do you have any horrible nicknames that people have given you that have ruined your life? He's like, interestingly enough, I do. Assless No Cock, and and you're like, that's a great name.
Happens. And the funniest part is like I'll send you clips for like use of whatever, and like nothing else ever comes out except that.
There are some like
that's metal in your lungs.
I forgot about
fantastic,
that.
And
it's my ass kicking outfit, bitch.
Which realistically carries a lot of weight.
The shit pants is very good. I understand why that's the crowd favorite.
Well, listen, I don't pick the favorite. The favorite just exists. It's not, It's if anything, I just need to listen to the audience.
There's been like a weird trend on like on Reddit for all these TV shows. They've been doing like an alphabet game where every letter has to start with a quote that starts with that letter, and they're like, all right, here's A, everybody comment A, vote on A, and then like, all right, a day later, here's B, etc. And like, I'm so sick of it because like it's the same dude posting 26 times over the course of like a month, and it's like, just get me out of here.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
The age of TikTok.
It's so like, honestly, I get on there and I'm like, I feel dirty. This makes me
is why I post to TikTok and then leave again. I don't like
I feel like that's the only safe way for your mental health is be like, yeah, I'll just post it and then I just walk away. I'm just gonna,
Yeah, see, I'm like, I always think like, yeah, I can be a social media person and I like make a post and then like months go by, I'm like, I really can't do this again. And then,
yeah.
I made a TikTok and I was like, I'm gonna post like cool, like forensic medical advice videos. And I did it 2 times.
Mhm.
They both did really well.
Nice.
And I think that was like 7 months ago. And I
It's
See, now you do it again and everyone's like, she's back finally.
finally,
Yeah.
I just can't. Like, I just have such a like low bandwidth for social media. Like, I'm not a scroller.
No.
I do have social media. I'm almost never on it. Except if it's for the club. I'm like on that all the time.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You just like focus on the club, and that's fine. Like
I focus on the club's social media because unfortunately we're in this age where like a business doesn't exist if you don't have that. And I communicate with every single person that like rolls through the club or that wants to. And if I wasn't, the club was completely unheard of until I started doing that. And now it's like I'm just stuck in that role.
Yeah. That's that it's a weird time, right? Like that's because and there are a lot of places that don't have a website, but they'll just have social media. You're like, you just get everything from there. There's nothing, and you're just like, I get it. That makes complete sense. But at the same time, you're kind of going like, God, I'm old. And people were like, oh, we don't have menus. You just scan a thing. And I'm like, I swear to God,
code, I know.
I will kill everyone in this place. And I'm like, I just can't.
Yeah. No,
I recently learned how to use a QR code. This whole time I never knew. I'm like, what do you do with that? I didn't know that it was like your camera.
Yeah.
And Apple Pay or something. Learned that recently too.
This is why I use Android. But like I see what they're getting at with QR code menus where like, oh, it means you can change like menu options for specials or whatever.
Well, you're using less resources too.
Yeah. Like you don't have to print the paper with the laminate or like whatever the thing is. But then like, motherfucker, my phone is this big. Give me like an actual menu,
Look, but this is the thing is you're like, hey, if we do this, you're going to use less resources. It's cost efficient. These are all good things. Great. But there's no commitment for anyone else to do the same thing, right? It's the same. And realistically, just to tie it back to our subject, it's like, listen, just because nostalgia, like you look back and you're like, oh, it made me feel so good. And someone's like, I'm going to redo it. You're like, are you going to fuck it up? And they're like, yes, I am. And you're like, God damn it. You're like, it doesn't make you feel good again, right? It's just
go back and watch it like it still exists.
Listen, I've watched the 1986 Transformers movie multiple times because I'm just like, it brings a tear to my Optimus Prime. It's very emotional.
All the original Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th.
Absolutely.
They're the best.
That's where it's at. The new stuff, you're going, get the fuck out of here. What is that, CGI? Eat shit.
Once they get to the point where they start integrating like aliens into everything, and so I'm like, you've gone too far. You've gone
like
too
everything's
far.
got to be a universe, this and that. I'm like,
listen, I rewatched there's a new Jeepers Creepers, and I was like, ridiculous. Just honestly, the third one was bad enough. This, I'm just like, you guys have just lost your shit. And they're like, there's an omen. You're like, God, just fuck off. I don't. You're all crazy.
That's why I liked like the Ninja Turtles movie made it seem like it was its own like it's good. Those characters, but they just kind of did their own thing with it. I wish that they have like a setup for the sequel at the end. I'm like, maybe just don't do that. That would have been cool if you just did it and then left.
Well, that's the other problem is if something is successful, you're like, well, you have to make a sequel, and you're like, you don't. You're like, listen, we got 3 extra Matrixes. We needed one. We just needed one.
Something good.
It's just, and the first one, I was like, listen, as he's talking on the phone, last section, I'm like, well, he can fly. He should be able to fly. And then he flies away. I'm like, ha! I won the movie. It's perfect. And then you're like, oh, we're going to make a second one. I'm like, but he can fly already. What are you going to do now? And they're like, well, he'll fly really fast. And you're like, that's not, I want to see it. But at the same time, I don't understand why we're doing this.
What's so funny is that like a lot of TV shows recently have been good about knowing when to quit. Where they're like, we're doing 3 seasons and then the story's over. We're done. Bye. Like, that's still a thing, but movies, they're just like, until it just runs itself out of gas.
Well, listen, it goes back to the whole idea that there are so many people that are growing up with the name Khaleesi that hadn't finished the series, and I'm like,
one of my favorite bits to do on stage.
It's just
I've
brings
never
me so
even
much
seen
joy.
one episode.
Listen, the first couple seasons, wild.
Like Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
Never.
It's the first few seasons. You're like, great, medieval dragons, people doing crazy shit. I love it. And then you're kind of going, yeah, this is getting a little crazy. And then at the end, you're like, this just sucks shit. And you're like, great, all right, yeah, it's fine, right? It's wonderful. Well, it's a great experience.
To that we say, don't reboot stuff just because you want to. It's not really needed.
Do something original. Make it your own. Start your own story.
And that's how you get Fleabag. Anyway, so Raven, thanks for coming on the show with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Raven and the Funnel Spider. Where can people find you and follow you and all that good stuff?
I'm not a social media person.
Okay, maybe tell them about Deaf Noodles.
Yeah. You can follow the club's page, which is Deaf Noodles Comedy Club.
Awesome.
At Deaf Noodles
Comedy Club, and that's DEF, not DEAF.
Not like
I think we know that Raven is a cool person. Not going to spell it with the proper spelling. Some sort of loser. Come on,
that was so messed up. All right, Dino, where can they find you?
Right here, Dino the Genetic Marvel. If you're not willing to type it in and Google it, go fuck yourself. That's fair.
You can find me at Atlas Novak on Twitter while it's still around.
I thought it was Assless No Cock.
Nah.
What do you mean, Atlas Novak? What's that?
Dr. Assless No Cock, MD, actually. That's the formal.
Atlas Novak on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can follow my YouTube channel, The Epileptic Comic. Or you can check out my other podcast at Nexus at Nights, wherever you get podcasts. That's about a trading card game called Vanguard. If you don't care about that, that's completely understandable. Sorry. You were indeed too late.
We were early.
We recorded this early, but that's okay. So thanks everybody for listening. Hope you stay safe from the hurricane, or were safe from the hurricane, because it's coming out later. And bye everyone.
Bye.